Yes, I'll just
Can
enable
enable
that.
that. Yeah.
I have done that. Please.
Yeah. Sir. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। Today, you will learn many little tips as a part of this seminar, which will energize you in your thought, word, and deed. Even if you make a little effort to apply some of them, uh, this is actually although it's a Vedic approach to managing our stress. I have presented it in a way that it can be easily relatable to the modern day audience. So, actually, I have a pocket book with the same name, Stress into Smile. It will be available with our representative, Sara Shiromani Prabhu. In case any of you feel like having a copy, later you could procure a copy.
Sure.
So, actually, uh, I have been a student of mechanical engineering before. During my college days, I did my master's in IIT Bombay, after which I was also working with two, three different companies like Thermax and Mathur and Platt and CCRI. Uh, I have been president of the Pune temple last 20 years, and recently I have a responsibility at Hyderabad too. I am also one of the four presidents in Hyderabad. I come to Hyderabad every month for a week. Third week of every month, I am in Hyderabad. I also travel to Boston 2 months in a year for doing youth outreach in the Western world, going to universities like Massachusetts and Cornell and Stanford and such universities. So one of my interests in practicing and talking on topics like this is because way back in 1997, I joined in 94 in ISKCON Society. 1997, I was given a presidentship within just 3 years of uh, my life in ISKCON, which was actually very strange because generally in ISKCON society, after one spends about 10 to 15 years, one would be made the president. But I was given presidentship in 3 years, not because I was highly qualified or something, but actually it was considered a blind uncle is better than no uncle. There was no one to fit the seat at that time. I was the only one available around, and they put me. And thus I was like thrown into the water, and I had to learn swimming. How to be a president of a community where we had right now we have 6,000 members in our Pune community, and we have about 150 residents like me in the ashram. So none of these people are paid a single penny. All of them are voluntary workers. So it was even more challenging in that sense. So that's how I learned management and leadership living with them. So as you all know, as you see here, modern day society is characterized by urgency addiction. I'm calling it urgency addiction. Why? Because we get used to it. We get addicted to it and we feel a thrill in it. Sometimes people from Mumbai, when they come to Pune, within a couple of months they retire, from Pune job and go back to Mumbai because they say we want life to be fast. We can't afford it to be slow. They get addicted to the urgency. And interpersonal conflicts really spoil the relationships. And the strain in relationships, especially at the top levels of management, is very unfortunate because all of you as leaders in the corporate field, two things are very important for you: relationships at home and results in the office. But you can't say there is no need for relationship in the office because in the office also we need at least a working relationship with our colleagues to begin with, and if possible, a very healthy, friendly relationships with the colleagues, so that we'll be able to accomplish the tasks very easily by getting help from different colleagues in the office. But such interpersonal clashes like this, driven by ego, uh, driven by personal pride, they actually spoil our job. And when I was in Stanford, sorry, not Stanford, it was in Massachusetts, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I was speaking on a topic. I told the students that we are not independent in our business. We all are co-workers. I was telling, without others helping you, you won't be able to succeed. So one boy was a little upset with that statement. At the end of the class, he was asking, uh, I am actually planning to be an entrepreneur myself, and I am going to start an industry, and I may have a few thousands of people working under me. And he said, I am not going to be working in a team with anybody. He said, I just throw the money and they have to do the work for me. I'm not co-worker with anybody, he was telling. What do you say about that? Then I told him, in this world, nobody gets success by themselves. Students, if you see, their success depends on pleasing the teacher. Similarly, the business people, their success depends on pleasing the customers. Similarly, you have internal customers and external customers. The people working with you in the company, your colleagues are your internal customers, and the product you sell to the external customers. So unless you keep both of them happy, you're not going to succeed. And to keep people happy, you have to become humble, tolerant, patient, forgiving, understanding, courteous, broad-minded, selfless. All these qualities will be needed. I told him, like in a family, you are co-worker with wife. Uh, in your office profession, you are co-worker with so many colleagues. Even with God, you are a co-worker, because our endeavor and God's grace, like we sow the seed, He gives the rains. We are all always co-workers. After that talk, that fellow was convinced. He said, "Oh, I understand. It seems we just can't run away from people." He said, "He said you are always surrounded by people all around." So, therefore, mm, interpersonal conflicts, multitasking is a well-known thing. Mm. Unrealistic targets is even more famous thing. So generally, we take unrealistic targets. Why? We often tend to chew more than what, tend to swallow more than what we can chew. And the reason for that is naturally greed. When you go from need to greed, you have to bleed. That is the way this world is. And most people bleed actually, and they suffer taking unrealistic targets. And sometimes we burn out ourselves and burn out others also due to passion. So ambition is good, but over ambition can burn us out. So unhealthy competition. Unhealthy competition actually means shooting the people on the same side. Like for example, you have a rival company. You are supposed to find out what they are doing and how can we perform better. But imagine if the same people and the same company are shooting each other, that will be counterproductive, isn't it? So unhealthy competition. Competition is good. I wouldn't say competition is bad. There is a healthy competition. In healthy competition, you try to do better. You try to, in the Vedic times, the wars would be such that if an enemy would do a very good move, even the other enemies on the other side would cheer him up. They would clap hands and say, "Wow, that was a great move," they would say. And evening after the battle is over, they would meet like friends. And they were quite normal. And that kind of rapport people had, that comradeship they had in the ancient times. But now there is competition even amongst colleagues. And that unhealthy competition is no good. It will actually, hurt the company and hurt the individual progress as well as the institutional progress, both. Yeah. And yeah, long working days and job stress, then the job is no more enjoyable. The job becomes like a burden, something. There's a saying that if you love your job, you don't have to work for a day, it is said. And when we love the job, we need a balance in life. We have our professional duties, family duties, and devotional duties. And there's time for sports, there is time. So there are four aspects of human life, and we need a balance in them. For example, if you do yogasanas and if you go for jogging, then one is keeping one's body fit. Then one is considered a good animal, because animals also keep their body fit. You will see that. And if one is very good in company job, is very competent, then one is considered a good craftsman. Hmm. And one is very good in relationships with people, is a gregarious person, he connects with people very well, uh, and he's a very pleasing personality. Then he's called a good friend. Hmm. And one can pray to God by opening the heart and gain tremendous empowerment from God, just like Hanuman. Before starting a project, he prayed to his father, Vayu. He prayed to his guru, Surya. He prayed to his Lord of his life, Lord Rama, and got tremendous Shakti from them, blessings and good wishes from them. And then he could do miracles after that, subsequently. Then you are considered a good saint. So, good animal, good friend, good craftsman, and good saint, all these things put together makes you a complete human being. Uh, And most of the people are not complete in their lives. Therefore, they suffer. So, in order for us to be complete, we have to have all these components of life. There is time for sports, there is time for God, there is time for entertainment, there is time for the family, there's time for profession. One has to be balanced in all these things. Sometimes you hear of suicides nowadays. People had a crashing down business. When business goes nosediving, people commit suicide. Uh, or when they ruin the relationship, people commit suicide. So the reason is because they don't know life has so many other aspects. They are very narrow-minded in their understanding of life. So yeah, stress is a silent killer. One thing you are going to be surprised when I define about what is stress, because generally people think uh, when they talk about like this fellow is being pushed by time and is being crushed by stress, distress. It appears that stress is an external thing, but let me tell you the fact: stress is not something that is acting on you from as an external agent. Stress is your internal response mechanism to the external stimuli. So external stimuli may be anything, any damn thing. But if you change your internal response mechanism, uh, then you are not going to be stressed. Which means, given the same situation, two people are going to respond in two different ways. Hmm. One is going to be stressed, another one is not going to be stressed. Hmm. So it depends on how you respond. You, you can respond in a way that increases your stress, or you can respond in another way that doesn't stress you at all. Uh, like one time, you all may be aware probably of a very famous philosopher called Socrates. Socrates actually used to bring his friends to his home sometimes, dozen friends, and would be sitting in the hall and talking philosophy to them. His wife would never like to hear philosophy. She would say that, why don't you get up and do something? You are sitting and talking, she would yell from the kitchen. So Socrates wouldn't mind at all, but his friends were getting very disturbed. One of the days, wife was at her uh, nerves, she was at a high pitch, she was shouting. So then Socrates told his friends that, okay, let's better go to the park and talk. It seems my wife is not happy with all of you. Too many of you have come today. So when they all got out of the house, when Socrates also came out, suddenly they saw something very strange happening. The wife went to the top floor. When she saw her husband coming out from there, she poured a bucket full of water on him. The whole body got drenched. All his clothes got drenched. Then all the friends were like shell shocked. Can anybody expect such a humiliation in the public road? Socrates was the only one smiling. He told his friends, my dear friends, I told you, till now the clouds were rumbling, now they poured just now, he said. So he wasn't stressed at all because he didn't take it as a great insult at all. He didn't feel pained at heart. He knew her nature, and that is her nature, and he learned to live with it. So therefore, given the same situation, two people are going to respond in two different ways. So therefore, know the art of responding in the right manner. Today, you'll be learning a lot of different methods by which we can alter our response in such a way that we don't have to unnecessarily be stressed at all. Mm. Yeah, here is a small thing that one needs to know about ourselves. Our scriptures say that the basic truth, if it is learned about who you are and what is the world you are living in, that will solve most of our headache. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna also had collapsed in the beginning of the battle of Kurukshetra. He was also very stressed. You know, there is a series of verses in the Bhagavad Gita you'll find in the beginning and the first chapter itself. Imagine, you have to run a company. If the CEO himself collapses, huh? If the CEO says that, I am very demoralized, because suddenly COVID has come now, the whole world is engulfed by this serious problem. We don't know what is going to happen to us. You know, that company went from 900 crores to 300 crores. This company did that. So if he collapses, then everybody else gets demoralized. This is not true. Huh? And that's what happened for Arjuna. He put his bow down and said, Nayotse iti govinda muktva tushning babhuvaha. He says that I'm not going to fight now. And he is supposed to lead actually. The leader is not ready to fight. What do you think will happen to others? At that time, Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. And then at the end of the Gita, you find Arjuna took the bow and arrow and he fought a valiant battle and he emerged victorious. And later on, they became rulers of the whole world. You can see that. So, what is there in Bhagavad Gita that made Arjuna so confident? What made Arjuna to go from lamentation to the mode of developing such self confidence? So, one of the first and foremost truths that Lord Krishna told Arjuna is understand you are not this body made of a lump of chemicals. You are not potassium, sodium, or calcium, or all these things. You are actually a spirit, a pure spirit who is different from the body, who is undying, who is everlasting, who is primeval, who is always existing. And you are different from the body as much as the driver is different from the car. If somebody thinks I am this car, it is ahankar, we call it. Ahankar actually means I am the car. Like people, somebody sitting in a Mercedes Benz may say to a rickshaw wala, he may say that, "Hi rickshaw, move aside," because he thinks I am the Benz and he is the rickshaw. Neither is he Benz nor is that fellow rickshaw. He is different from the body. He is different from the car. But to the degree he is going to be attached to the car, to that degree he is going to face problems. Like once a man was, he had gone to some office, was coming down. He had parked a black color Benz car. He saw boys were playing cricket. The correct ball came and hit the window pane, and the glass broke. And when the glass of the car broke, newly purchased car, immediately this fellow felt a great shock. He felt as if, he got a heart attack because a new car. Just a couple of days ago, he purchased it. Now the little boys played and they broke the glass of the car. He was so shattered. Initially, he was shattered. Now he wanted to beat up those boys. When he came rushing to the car, he was taken by surprise. It was not his car. It was another Benz car, which exactly looked the same. There were two cars, black cars standing. So the ball hit the neighborhood car, not his car. So seeing that his car is safe, the whole situation changed for him now. Wow, thank God, my car is safe. He was very happy. That means, his heart getting shattered or he feeling joy depends on his attachment to the car. So that's what Krishna taught Arjuna. Arjuna, you are actually aloof from the body. Even if the car is broken down or glass is broken, you are not broken. You are aloof from it. You can always purchase another car. You're different from this car. Just like sometimes you wear a new dress, you're showing off to everybody, see how good I look like. And then suddenly there is a nail or something in the door, like that, you just tears your cloth. And then, you look so ugly and you feel so uneasy. Oh, it's my new cloth. What happened to me? Some people even burst into tears, actually, because they identify with the cloth so much. We identify with the cloth, we identify with the car, we identify with the home, we identify with so many things. That's what makes us suffer. Krishna taught him. So, therefore, the first thing he taught him is this. And that particular entity in this body, the Atma, as we call it, soul, he has got these facilities in the body. There are two coverings over the body. The gross body is made of Panchamahabhut, which you all know, earth, water, fire, air, ether, which you can see with your eyes also. In the mirror, that is Panchamahabhut. And in this body, you find there's a subtle body inside. Just like a man may wear a banyan inside and then shirt outside. Similarly, Atma wears a subtle body inside and a gross body outside. The subtle body has mind and intelligence, like you see here. Mind and is like a software, and the gross body is like a hardware. So the Gross body hardware has instruments like eyes, nose, tongue, ears, and skin, which you can see with in the mirror. You can see yourself. But inside this hardware body, this is a software type of soft body, subtle body, which has mind and intelligence. It's very important for us to know this because here is where the secret lies, how we are going to conquer your stress. Mind is a storehouse of thoughts, and also we store our worries of the past and fears of the future, our dreams, experiences, ambitions. Everything is stored there, like you store files in a computer, isn't it? So our computer can be compared very much with our body. Like for example, any of you have seen a CNC machine, a computer network controlled machine. It has got a microprocessor where if you type some programs there, then there are servo motors which move linear, rotary, and all that. So our hands and legs are like servo motors. Hands, legs, and all the parts of the body. And our mind is like the microprocessor, isn't it? Mind is like a hard disk, we can say. And intelligence is like a CPU, central processing unit. Can any of you say what does a CPU do in a computer? What does it do? CPU? The CPU is the decision maker in a computer. It gives a decision what is to be done. So everything
We
is
are
good.
majorly marketing company. We are not a software company.
Okay. You're marketing company. Okay.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
yeah.
But
I
we do understand what is CPU,
We
but still, I'm just giving clarity on that.
Yeah. So this example is easy to
it's a mind
appreciate.
of computer.
Yes, Manish, yeah.
Yeah, it's a mind of computer. You can
It's like the
call it.
mind of the computer. Yeah. It just helps make decisions. So,
Right.
and then in the same manner, our body also is a computer, but the difference is what? A computer cannot function on its own. You have to operate it. Similarly, this body cannot function on its own. You, the operator of the body, is called Atma. Is that clear, everybody?
Yes.
So, yeah. So, in our mind only, the good things and bad things are there. Whenever we say stress, the stress is here only. It's in the mind only. Therefore, you have to capture the problem where the point where the problem is staying. And intelligence is the decision maker. To put it very simple for you, this slide. See, the senses are like the children, we can say eyes, nose, tongue, ears, skin. Eyes see some picture and it gives to the mind. Nose smells something and gives it to the mind. Tongue tastes gulab jamun and says, oh, it's very tasty, it gives to mind. All of them supply to the mind. So the senses can be compared to children, mind can be compared to mother, and intelligence can be compared to father. It's an easy example, isn't it? The father, mother, and children. So it's like a family of these three things. So if depending on the scripts that we store in the mind, your life is going to be a happy one or a miserable one, depending on what things we store. For example, you'll see it now. Okay, here. Is the sound coming? Okay, I have to, 1 minute, I have to put the sound off just 1 minute. Yeah. So I'm going to show you a small video. I'll share the sound also with you just a minute. I will ask you a question after this, after you watch the 2 minutes video. The sound coming?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, anybody can tell me what did you learn from this?
Yeah, I can share my experience, Swamiji.
Yeah.
Srini here. The harder you take, the tougher it becomes, the stress.
Thank you. That was nice. Interesting. Thank you. Yes. Anyone else?
Concentration should be strong.
Okay.
He was concentrating on the sound of the bees instead
Yeah.
of concentrating inside.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else want to add to this?
Yeah, Gulam here, sir.
Yeah.
What I understood from the video is the more you try to avoid the unpleasant situation, so it keeps on increasing. It will be piling up. The stress will be piling up, and the more you fight, then more danger you will be, I think.
Yeah.
So the state of mind should be changed, right?
Yes. Very good point. Very nice point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, when a stimuli tries to create trouble for you, you can respond in two ways. Like how Socrates responded, I told you. Actually, you can take a small matter seriously and make a mole into a mountain,
Yes.
and then get too much stressed, or you can decide to ignore it. There are many people all around us saying so many things. But if we can learn the art of ignoring useless speeches made by others, if we can overlook it, we will save our time, we will save that time. And we just have to learn that art. One time Gandhi was sitting in a ship deck. You know, Gandhi, he would just wear a dhoti and a cloth on the top. That's all. So one big British officer saw from the top. He thought he's freaking out. I will prove him to be an angry man. So then the officer came down. He actually had drawn some caricatures, some pictures of Gandhi looking like a monkey, and in 3-4 papers. And he had put a pin and came and gave it to Gandhi and said, I am giving you something very valuable. Keep it with you. Like that he said, and he went up. Actually, he thought he will see the pictures, and he had written the name of Gandhi also. He wanted Gandhi to become wild. But Gandhi was sitting very coolly. Then again, he came down and asked him, where are those sheets I gave you? Gandhi showed the dustbin. So the man saw the papers in the dustbin. He got wild. He got angry now. He said, I told you I'm giving you important things. How did you throw it in the dustbin? And Gandhi opened his purse and showed the pin. This is the only useful thing I found, he said, which I kept with me. Other things I put in the dustbin, he said. And the man was like defeated. So you can see in our life, if you are essence seekers in life, what is essence? Take it. What is not essence? Leave it and go on with life. We don't have to answer everything that others may be talking around us. We don't have to take every small thing happening around us too seriously to our heart. So did you observe that carefully? When the fly first came, when he took it very seriously, he stopped his meditation and started attacking it with the sword. The moment he paid attention, he empowered the problem. Do you want to disempower the problem or empower the problem? What do you want? You want to empower the problem or disempower the problem?
Disempower.
Disempower. And one of the ways of disempowering the problem is to ignore it, not make a mole into a mountain. That's the
Sure.
thing we learn from that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so can I interrupt now?
Oh,
Or
you can. Sure. Yeah. Sure.
yeah. So, how do we differentiate between ignoring and negligence? So, there may be a thin line between that.
Yeah.
People might think that it's okay to ignore, and people might think that it is just an ignorance, that she's neglecting and ignoring completely what we're
Yeah.
saying, and she's not giving a value to it.
Yeah. So it's a, see, we have to be responsible in life, undoubtedly. We can't be neglectful. At the same time, we have to think about what should we be responsible for and what are things that deserve to be overlooked. Say, for example, say I am working with a colleague who has a habit of speaking a bit sarcastically, uh, you know. So I notice it and I feel a bit insulted also by their behavior. So now if I take it too seriously, then what happens is, imagine, for example, my combination with that colleague is producing good results for the company. The only problem is that fellow has a certain sarcastic bent while speaking or joking. I accept it as his trait. Uh, his trait is like that. Then I just ignore it, overlook it, and I only see the quality of his work. Because some people are actually very good at work. Only thing is they have some personality traits which are not good. If we can overlook them and tolerate them, they will produce very good work for the company. But if I'm going to make a big issue about it, so your work might be very good, but you are a little proud if you say, and that's it. After that, all problems starts after that. Correct, no? So at the same time, in case somebody is, having some serious flaw, for example, somebody is showing disloyalty to company, for example, we have found out one example that he is disloyal, and that should not be ignored. There are companies who will even fire a person if he is disloyal to the company. So we should know what is small problem, what is a bigger problem, what deserves to be overlooked, what deserves to be attended. We have to have the Viveka Buddhi to discriminate between the two. Is it all right? Yeah, thank you. And then now you see here how the stress is produced. The mechanism is explained here. If you see this picture here, so initially a stimuli is given to the senses, and immediately the mind starts screaming. Mind is worried. Oh, what is this problem? And it consults the intelligence. And the intelligence may have three responses. One is, I don't know what is this problem. It is unknown. Then when the intelligence says, I don't know, then it is considered as a threat. And then if the intelligence says, oh, that's nothing to worry about. It's a very insignificant problem. Don't worry. If the intelligence gives a reasoning, then it's intelligence may say that it is a friend for you or enemy for you, the situation. If it is a friend, it's plus. If it is an enemy, it is dangerous. And then the next step will be mind will say, oh, that's my enemy, help me out, help me out. I'll tell you an example, simple example. If that's coming in the next slide only, it will make it more clear if you see. If you see here, you hear a loud noise outside the window of your house. Like that big sound you heard. Immediately become curious. What is this? It could be a negative sound, which is a bomb blast put by some terrorists. That could be a real threat. They are putting bomb blasts here also, they may come and put. We have a fear. Or it may not be a threat at all. Like, for example, if you see, what was that loud noise? It was bursting of a scooter tire. Somebody was going in the scooter and it was a bursting of a scooter tire. And then as soon as you open the window and looked from there, you saw that the fellow is towing the scooter because tire is burst. Then what was causing fear to you now turns into an amusement for you, isn't it? It's no more fear. So that means ignorance of the problem is the cause of stress. If the ignorance is, like for example, in a dark room when you go, you are afraid maybe snakes may be there, maybe scorpions may be there. But if light is switched on, you have no more fear. And you can clearly see things as they are. Similarly, once the problem is defined very clearly and you understand it, then the fear is gone. Let's take one more example. Now you have to answer this. Say you go to the company in the morning and your subordinate every day used to wish good morning to you. On one particular day, he didn't wish good morning to you. And you are enraged. So now I want two possibilities from you. You all can say, what are the two possibilities? One positive and one negative, which means a real threat or a perceived threat. Both you have to say. Anybody can say a perceived threat? Perceived threat means you imagine it to be a problem. Actually, it's not a problem at all. Why he didn't?
assume
Yeah.
that, we might assume that they have done something yesterday, which is why he's not wishing me today, or something like that.
Uh-huh. Oh, he has done something. Who has done? Yeah.
I might have done something yesterday, which is why he is not wishing me today. Or did I?
Oh, in case, yeah, I agree with you. In case yesterday, while leaving the company, you spoke something and you both had a tussle, for example, small tussle. Next day morning, if he's not wishing, that's actually not a perceived threat, it's a real threat.
Okay.
Why it's a real threat? Because it is distancing the relation. Therefore, it's a real threat. And perceived threat means what? That fellow might have lost some money on the way. He lost his purse while coming to company. He had kept some 20,000 rupees in that. He's searching here, searching there. He couldn't get it. Now he's completely lost in those thoughts. And then when he saw you, he failed to wish good morning because his mind is not here. And that is called perceived threat. Perceived threat means actually he has no problem with me. He has problem with his loss of money. But I am imagining, since he didn't wish me, I think he has a problem with me. Therefore, it is perceived threat. Is that clear to everybody?
Yes.
Actually, this concept of perceived threat is very important because most of our problems are all perceived threat. You will see that. Yeah. Yeah. Or here another example like given. Your subordinate son had met with an accident and that very morning, so he was very disturbed. Once you came to know this fact, you were sympathetic to him and not annoyed. Initially, you might be annoyed. Now you became sympathetic to him. Yeah. So you understood that. Yeah. So what happens when stress is generated? The adrenaline is generated to take a fight or flight action as a way to overcome a threat for survival. As soon as there is a threat or a perceived threat also, you immediately get into action. Like here you see she's afraid. As soon as she sees this fellow's anger coming, that's a perceived threat. She may want to take some action. Yeah. Similarly, there are many situations nowadays. Say COVID starts and then some companies are laying off some people. And say one of your friends was laid off from his company. As soon as you hear it, then the perceived threat starts. Maybe I will also be laid off. And if I am laid off, how will I go? With my experience, will I get another job? Now, if the COVID continues for more than 1 or 2 years, I don't have much savings. And all this actually cause fear, that type of fear. So the job situation can cause fear. Financial loss can cause fear. Suddenly somebody has a health issue. Say you got a tumor or something coming up. Your friend tells you, hey, this tumor is dangerous. There are two types of tumors, you know that? One type of tumor is called benign, another one is called malignant. So you go to the doctor is testing the tumor and saying that it could be either. If it is malignant, you may not live forever. Live for a long time. You may live only a few months. And if it is benign, there's nothing to worry. Then you're given for the test. Till the results come, are we not in tension? Isn't it? So this is how we all are subjected to varieties of situations in this world. You see the situations. Are you a reactor or an overreactor? This one is an overreactor, we can say, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you are driving your car in rush hour, of course, here the car is going pretty smooth. Seems there is no traffic. But sometimes when there is a traffic jam, you get fed up, isn't it? Similarly, when you get a last minute work assignment, nobody likes it. So this is how you feel, when you get a last minute assignment.
Yes.
If you misplace something in the house, you panic. Where did I keep this? How did I keep that? Yeah. Dealing with incompetence at work. Oh, you tell me in this photo, who is suffering? The boss or the subordinate?
Boss.
Yeah?
Probably boss.
Actually, both are suffering. Boss is fed up with his incompetence and the fellow is being repeatedly yelled at by the boss and he is miserable also. So, yeah, different people react differently. Yeah, this fellow is depressed because of the loss in the company. Some people, as I told you, commit suicide, or some people become depressed and undergo difficult situation. Being blamed for something, oh, this is a very painful thing for most people, especially if you are Niraparadi, you have not done anything. So, anger is natural response to these perceived threats. All these are called perceived threats, the ones which I showed you now. Like this, you feel very miserable. So these are the reasons why you get angry. See here, when our control is not accepted, when our expectations are frustrated, when our opinions are not accepted, when we feel someone has insulted me, or when we feel frustrated due to inability. So there is an easy equation to remember this, easy acronym. See here, CEOIF. CEOIF. Control, expectation, opinion, insult, and frustration. So if you remember this acronym, you remember these are the situations in which you become stressed. So ask yourself, whenever you are under stress, it must be one of these 5 situations, generally speaking. So I'm explaining this in the next few slides. You see, I want to be in control of money and situations and people, and the whole world should revolve around me. Everyone and everything and everyone must be at my beck and call. Like that everybody desires, and that's not the way the world is. Many times things don't go our way. You can't keep everyone and everything under our control. Because of which we get, because of losing control, we get angry. Actually, there are innumerable examples. Long before, there was a very great king called Hiranyakashipu. He brought the whole world under control, and he could not bring his 5-year-old son Prahalad under his control. Being frustrated by that 5-year-old boy, at last he lost his life itself. So, what to do when things are going out of our control? Therefore, you can draw 2 circles and consider what is in your influence and what is not in your influence. What is in your influence, try to change it. What is not in your influence, you can aspire for it, but don't get frustrated by it. And also sometimes so they are unable to take the failure. So what should we do when we are faced with failure? At that time, we should hope for the best and be prepared for the worst. We can also learn from our failures, mistakes. Next time we don't commit the same mistake. Yeah. This is our opinion fellow, my way or highway. He believes only in his opinion. He doesn't care about others. So imagine if I am a boss, who has a strong opinion about things. I call my team and tell the people that, I know what is to be done. You guys, you just cooperate with me. My intelligence and your cooperation. You just work with me. Like that if I tell the people. And I don't have any time to hear your opinions. And anyway, you guys don't know much about all this. Therefore, you just do what I'm saying. Will they cooperate? They will definitely cooperate to make sure your opinion doesn't work. The further they will cooperate. Yeah. Therefore, we have to listen to opinions of others. Like Lord Ram wants to know whether he should accept Vibhishan into his team or not. He's asking Sugriva, he's asking, different fellows. Angada, he's asking Hanuman. After asking dozens of monkeys, then all the monkeys started telling Rama that, what about you? You are our leader and you have not given your opinion. Everybody else has given their opinion. Then he gave his opinion. It was accepted by all. A good leader is one who calls for opinion from all his team members. But this fellow, because he has a strong opinion, therefore he's frustrated. Yeah. This is another thing, threat to the self-esteem. I am feeling insulted. How do you say I am incompetent? That is his argument. Although he is incompetent to some degree, he is unable to accept it. He is feeling insecure. So he feels very, very pained at heart. Or somebody treated me unfairly or rudely, somebody neglected me, somebody denied. These are all response when one feels insulted. Yeah. And frustration arising due to our refusal to accept the inevitable. There are inevitable things. We are not independent in achieving success. I told you we are co-workers with God. We can only sow the seed. God has to give the rains. Similarly, in our situations in life, sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. When we lose, we learn from situations. When we win, we also thank God and thank all those who contributed to the success, isn't it? So these are the 5 things I told you now. When our control is not accepted and expectations are frustrated. So now, in all of our minds, there are so many conditionings. We have written our mind. Where did we get them from? We call it a GIGO principle. Garbage in, garbage out. Good in, good out. So it depends on what things we take into our mind. Like our mind is like a book, like a copy. Here you can write legibly or you can write illegibly. It's your choice, personal choice. Actually, we need to associate with cheerful people, be friendly with cheerful people, be compassionate to the innocent, keep away from envious, keep a distance from away from envious, and associate with people who will actually, whose company will be uplifting to you. So in this world, you have 3 types of people: uplifting people, or those who ruin your good spirits, or there are neutral people. Neutral people, you don't get much, but uplifting people can actually elevate you. Associate with them. So like, see, these thoughts, you see, positive thoughts. Those people who can actually help you feel joy, love, hope, mercy, peace, honesty, harmony, that kind of positive thoughts. And necessary thoughts also, which you need for your work and career. So associate with those people. And negative thoughts, like the ones given here. So there are some people whose company actually induces these type of thoughts in you. Then you have to keep a little away from such company. Or you can't avoid such people always. You can be business-like with them. Do the work with them, but don't give your affection, or you don't, you can't make thick friends with such people. Because then they will induce negativity into you. It is very contagious. Just like going from electricity, electric shock goes from one person to another like that. So we have to also strengthen our intelligence. Then we will be able to control the mind and the senses. Just like you see, the intelligence is the driver of the chariot, and the mind is the ropes, and the 5 senses are horses. If you want not to get stressed, then intelligence has to be made sharper. Viveka buddhi has to be. So we need to read wisdom literatures, become intelligent enough, and whenever the mind consults us with some stressful situation, we can give guidance to the mind. Today, I'm going to show you some practical solutions now, where you will see by strengthening your intelligence with those understandings, you can very easily tackle the mind and senses. Because the mind is controlled, it can become your best friend, because the stress is situated in the mind only. If you can make mind can become control, you can keep it under restraint. Somebody may say, why should we control the mind? Can't we let the mind loose, go in any direction it wants? In fact, modern thinkers, many people say that, freedom of speech and freedom of thought and freedom of action. So I have to say a couple of words now about the need for self-restraint. If you see a river, when there's a flood in the river, can the flood do any good? Flood only can carry away the cattle. The flood can kill people. It can demolish the houses. But the same flood, if it is kept in a dam, for example, like one bank this side, and third, when you put, then the dam can be utilized very well for irrigation purposes, isn't it? Like your parents put some restriction, teachers put some restriction, God put some restriction. But these restrictions actually builds your energy. It is not this restraint is not bad. There is a healthy restraint. For example, I want to send a kite up in the sky. What do I do generally? Do I not keep a spool in my hand and slowly release it? Or do I take a blade and cut it and say, now you go in the sky, you throw it. If you throw it in the sky, it will go and get stuck in some tree. Isn't it? So we gradually only release. We just don't throw it in the sky. Same way in your home, say you have a garden, don't you take a big scissor and trim the garden? When you trim the garden, it looks very elegant, isn't it? It looks very beautiful. And if you don't trim, it just grows in different directions. It doesn't look good. Similarly, we have to trim our bad habits and keep only good habits. So we have to choose to keep the good habits and throw away the bad habits. So in this way, self-restraint It's practiced everywhere. In your own home, you can see the gas cylinder has a, what do you call that, regulator? Regulator. Now, why the regulator is there? If you don't regulate, there may be explosion, which is no good. In the same manner, ask the singers. Don't they have restraint? They don't eat ice cream because they want to keep their throat well so they can be good singers. Similarly, those who are Olympic prize winners, gold medalists, they rise early in the morning and they do net practice for many years. So they are certainly restraining some of the desires in order for them to be able to do it. So self-restraint is not a bad idea, provided it results in something wonderful. So therefore, I was telling you about the mind also. Mind needs to be controlled, and like what should be controlled? That is also mentioned. The scriptures say, Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jihva vegam, udara upastha vegam, etan veganyo vishaheta dhiraha, sarvam apimam pradivim sushishyat. 6 urges should be controlled. First he says, Vacho vegam means our tendency to speak nonsense should be controlled. We should only speak that will be fruitful to others, beneficial to us and beneficial to others. So in that sense, like Pythagoras also said that, speak fitly or keep silent, he said. So that is Vacha Vegam. Manasa Vegam means mind may be racing. Mind may say, get into that shopping mall, purchase everything that is available there, stock everything in your home. No, don't listen to the mind. Tell the mind, shut up. I will only purchase what is most necessary. I am a money saver. I am not a extravagant spender. So then control the mind. And then this way, if you save money now, you can be happier in future. So, Manasa Vegam. Krodha Vegam means anger should be very carefully used, like electricity has to be very carefully used. Otherwise, the anger can be danger. It's actually called, anger is 1 letter short of danger, it is said. So, we should avoid unnecessarily getting angry on people without understanding situation. So, Vacha Vegam, Manasa Vegam, Krodha Vegam. Jihva Vegam means eating habit. One should actually not overeat. If you overeat, you'll go to sleep. You'll feel drowsy and dull. We should eat as much as is necessary to keep our body healthy. And also, by overeating habit and eating junk foods and all, people get obesity and further problems. And Vacha Vegam, Jihva Vegam, Udara Vegam means urge of the belly. Urge of the tongue is tasty foods, too tasty foods, fine foods, and urge of the belly is eating too much quantity. And Upastha Vegam is actually controlling sex life. Actually, sex is allowed within married life for begetting children, but the sex should not be extravagantly used, and that can cause so many terrible problems in life, which we see in the modern times. Like a man who is already married, trying to have illicit connection with another woman, ruins the family, ruins a good family. So, in this way, the certain urges should be, the 6 urges should be restrained. That's the meaning of self-restraint. If the mind is uncontrolled, what happens? You see what the mind does. It will be your greatest enemy. That's what causes stress. The red one shows a stressed mind. Really, really tortures us. Yeah. Just like a knife. A knife can be good or bad, isn't it? If it is in surgeon's hand, it can do great good. Can even save lives. But if it is in a thief's hand, the thief may use the same knife for murdering somebody, you see. So although the knife is the same knife, so you have the same mind, you can use the mind in a constructive way or destructive way. And when mind is not controlled, all these problems come. We see in the world all around us, you see. Uncontrolled mind. And the result is, all these different kinds of practical problems we see. These are all uncontrolled mind acting out. See? So now in the last part solution, next 15 minutes, I'll give you a very simple, easy to understand solution. You already understood most part of it. Now solutions are pretty simple. It's an acronym. See, ESCAPE, escape. Each of it I'm going to explain in one slide now. And this is not all. This is only 6, and 6 more are there, which is called this one. STRESS, escape stress. So this 12 acronym, these 12 items, I'm going to show you in the subsequent slides now, and that will complete our session. First one is expectations. Like you see, we all expect that, everybody, loves me, everybody respects me. Everybody treats me fairly. I should never commit a mistake. I should always be right. I can never be wrong. So these kind of ideas are actually very wonderful to think about, but it is not a fact. You will see that we are not God to be always perfect. We do commit mistakes. When our expectations are not met, that is the time we get very frustrated. So sometimes, check yourself whether your expectations are realistic or unrealistic. Your friends may tell you your expectations are unrealistic sometimes, and that is the cause of our frustration. So we do commit mistakes sometimes. We have to learn from our mistakes. It's not wrong to commit mistakes, provided you learn from it. Of course, next time you can commit one more mistake, but commit a new one. Don't commit the same old one because you already learned from the old one. And in this way, if you can reduce your expectations, then your life will be pretty happier. One example I'll tell you. In my life, I am a perfectionist. Because of my being a perfectionist, sometimes subordinates, I have treated them a little strongly, especially when they commit mistakes. I have chastised them. Then after the chastisement, sometimes I don't get the kind of output I used to get from them before. Now I can do two things now. Either again, I deal with them affectionately and give them some gifts, give them time and encouragement, and then increase their output. That's one thing I can do. Or I can reduce my expectations from them, knowing that I have strained my relation with this fellow. Now I can't expect too much from him. You understand my point?
Yes.
Either of the two have to do. But what we do generally, we have strained our relationships also with them. Still, we maintain the same old expectation from them. And that is called unrealistic. And that is why we suffer from stress because of that. So that is about expectation. Second one, yes, success, right and wrong definition. Everybody wants to be number one in this world. People are craving for success, actually. So it's not wrong to aspire for success in life, but you have to know the right definition of success. There is a saying, success is not in the trophy won, but in the race run, it is said. Even if India, for example, gets a chance to participate in, World Cup, that itself is glorious. Somebody goes to international level. So in the same manner, you will see people write competitive exams, like if you see CAT exams. CAT exam, if somebody writes 1.2 lakh people appear in the exam, and only, sometimes 700 people are only admitted in IIMs, I heard in those days. Now maybe a little more now, maybe 1,000. Where is 1,000? Where is 1.2 lakhs? So just 1% people are taken in. So 99% people, we can't call them foolish, are good for nothing. So in case somebody has memorized 10,000 vocabs, later on if he writes GRE TOEFL, he may be able to use the same. So the point is, your learning is never a waste. One should see like that. My learning is not a waste. If I learn for one competitive exam, it may help me in another exam later. And in case I couldn't succeed this time, I can succeed next time. In IIT, yeah. Anybody has a question? Yeah. In IIT, one boy was a topper in first year, second year, third year. Fourth year, parents were thinking he's going to be a gold medalist. But in fourth year, somehow or other, he failed in 2-3 papers, somehow. So all his friends were calling, parents were calling. He was not even able to pick up the phone. He got frozen. How will I face the world? So he entered the Virar Lake we have in our IIT Bombay. In the fourth year, he entered and he committed suicide. Because he thought the success in life means to be a gold medalist. Otherwise, life is good for nothing, he thought. You see, as I told you, life has so many aspects. Education is only one aspect. There is entertainment, there is sports, there is the time with God, time with parents and relatives. There's so much aspects of life. You just couldn't think about them. So don't be too much bogged down with success in only one field. Be open-minded. Have the right definition of success. This is another problem, comparison. Unhealthy comparison is very bad. Look at these crabs. See, the crab wants to put everybody down and he wants to sit on the top and boss over them. And they don't let any crab come out. You will see that. That is the nature of the crabs. Therefore, you can put crabs in an empty bucket and leave them. They will make sure nobody can go Similarly, people sometimes think that if somebody goes up, I can't reach there, then I have to pull him down. Or I have to climb on his head and go beyond him. This kind of idea people have. And this is very, very unhealthy attitude. Why? Because of this, people get a lot of diseases in the mind, mental diseases people get. Actually, you can take inspiration from others. There is no problem. If somebody is doing better than us, we can take some learnings from them. If somebody is doing inferior to us, we can give them some support and facility. There is a story in Rig Veda, which says that once upon a time, a squirrel came out of a mountain hole, and he heard a loud laughter, and he turned around and saw the mountain with all its forests above. Ha ha ha! Mountain was laughing. Then the squirrel looked at him and said, "My dear mountain, I do agree that you are a great fellow. You are holding huge forests on your back. But let me tell you, you can't crack the nut which I can," he said. And then the mountain was like shocked. He just kept silent. He couldn't say anything. And it is a fact. The squirrel can crack a nut which the mountain can't crack. Similarly, each of us, we have some speciality in us, God-given gift. We can, about slim bill? Slim bill has 7 types of intelligence. Spatial visual means those are good in artistry. S, L is for linguistic. Some people are good in languages. I for interpersonal. Some people are very good and gregarious and very friendly in dealing with people. People. You say, no? Yeah, that's I. S, L, I, M stands for musical intelligence. And B stands for bodily kinesthetic. Those are good in sports. And I stands for intrapersonal, which means those who are very contemplative and thoughtful, and they can cast vision and things like that. People like that. And last, the L is for logical mathematical. People who are very good in mathematics. So you also definitely have one or more of these intelligences with you in the slim bill. So you have to find out what it is. Like look at these 5 fingers. All of them are not same. Like one is a stout fellow. We use it for challenge. Another finger, we put a gold ring. This is the tallest finger. So in this way, every finger is a different shape. The small finger may think I'm good for nothing. But you can see that although it's the tiniest finger, occasionally you can even use this finger. For example, if you feel itching inside the ears, you can do like this, isn't it? Other fingers can't go inside your ear. So in this way, you will see even a tiny person has his value. You heard of the story, once a lion was caught in a net. Once a lion captured a rat in the forest. But the rat told him, "Sir, if you spare my life now, I will save you later." And then later on, when the lion was caught in a net, the rat could save him. Although he's very tiny, he had one expertise called situational leadership, we call it. In that situation of the net, rat is a leader, not the lion. Otherwise, with respect to might and power, lion may be the leader. So we may be a situational leader, we may not know. We have to find out. Therefore, don't unnecessarily have unhealthy comparison with others. If you really want to grow in life, compare yourself with yourself. Just like the athletes, they carry a watch with them. They see, what was my speed last year? What is my speed now? Compare yourself with yourself, and that will help you grow. Or you can also compare with others, provided you make a healthy comparison. Learn from those who are better than you, and help those who are inferior to you. Yeah. And acknowledge all the good fortunes with gratitude. Yeah. This is also something which can really be of stress. Like one boy in IIT, one of the IITs, he got placed in Infosys, but he was crying, weeping to his friends. And friends asked, "Why are you weeping? You got in a good company." So he said, "No, I actually wanted to get through the Microsoft company. I appeared in the interview, I couldn't make it." So then his other friends told him, "Are you a fool? There are boys who don't get into IIT. There are boys who don't get into NIT. There are boys who don't get into any engineering college at all. And there are people who don't get education at all in life. There are illiterates. What about them? Even after getting so many things in life, you are not able to count the blessings. You are only counting what you don't have. Like when you're eating a plate of food in the lunchtime, should you look at your plate or others' plate? You will say, how many, what that fellow is eating, will you see? You look at your plate. Similarly, look at your own life, what God has given you. Your eyes are proper, your hands are proper, legs are proper, body is proper. You are born in a good family. You got a good education, you got a good job now. So count those blessings and you'll be a very happy person. You will not be miserable in life. Don't count what you don't have, count what you have. Yeah. Similarly, when people comment about you, don't be overly bothered. The masses will always say something. And you heard of the story of those father and son. They got a monkey. They got a donkey from the market, and they were taking the donkey. The son told the father, "Papa, use it." He told him that because you are elderly, use it. I can walk. I am a young boy. Father sat, and some people criticized. Hey, father is sitting comfortably, not letting the boy sit. And the father got down and made the son sit. And some people laughed and said, "Look at these people. Elderly man is made to walk, and the small boy is made to sit. How foolish these guys are." Then both father and son sat together in the donkey. Some people said, "How can they be so cruel to this animal? Poor animal, both the guys are sitting on the top," they were saying. Then father thought, "Oh, I should not be so cruel." Then both of them lifted the donkey above their head, two legs. They were catching. you know. And some people laughed and said, "Hey, look at these foolish guys. They purchased the donkey in the market. They're carrying the donkey." And these guys got so fed up with different people's coming, they threw the donkey in a river. So I am telling you, people in the world are going to talk something about you, but they don't know exactly what you are and who you are. Who knows about you? You know about yourself to some degree. God knows about you. So therefore, you don't have to bother too much about people who comment about you. Some people will praise you, some will criticize you. You can know for sure that they don't know complete information about you. So therefore, we shouldn't be bothered too much about people's comments, but make sure that you are walking the right path in life. Like you see this uh, two dogs. I scratch your back, you scratch my back. This is what everybody wants to do. Everybody should praise me, I will praise them. We keep pampering each other. That's what everybody wants, but all will not praise us. Sometimes somebody will yell at us like this boys. Somebody will ridicule us. But don't bother. Make sure you are walking the right path. Therefore, like I read Bhagavad Gita, I learn what is right, what is wrong, and I walk the right path. And some guys will always be there who will criticize us. We just ignore. Go on with life. Like this fellow, he is very strong in his meditation. So the yelling of the people doesn't make any difference to him. Of course, he has the intelligence to see, is there any element of truth in what they say? If there is, I will learn. Otherwise, I don't bother about them. And empathize with others' nature. See, here the boss is yelling at the subordinate, and subordinate is like confused and bewildered. He is shocked, like, so what to do? So empathizing with others' nature means what? Within your family, in your office, you all will see that you generally have only single-digit number of people in your life with whom you daily interact. It is only single digit. It will be generally 6 or 7 people only. Say your mother, your father, your spouse, your children at home. Then when you go to the office, you have your colleagues, immediate colleagues who are working with you. And in case, if you are able to conquer these relationships in your life, just 7, 8 people, you conquered the whole world, I can say. If you can preserve your relationship with these people in your life, 7, 8 people, then all other people in the world are at a distance relationship with you. It's very easy. But unfortunately, what happens with us, we are very good with people who are far away. People who are very close, with them we strain our relation. And that is where our life becomes really complicated. Then it becomes very stressful because again and again you have to see them. Again and again we have to deal with them. Again and day in and day out. So therefore, ati parichyat avajnat, it is said. Due to too much familiarity breeds contempt. Actually, familiarity should breed love. Provided we deal like Lord Rama dealt with Sita, Lord Ram dealt with Lakshman. So reading this wisdom literatures helps us to get an understanding of what qualities we need to cultivate. In my school days, my teacher told all of us that write all the qualities you expect in your friend. So we all I wrote about 20 qualities. Then we were about to give it to the teacher. Madam, it's here. She said, no, not yet. Keep it with you. In those qualities, how many qualities do you possess? They asked. And when we started thinking, my Lord, I only possess 4 or 5. So then the madam said, you see, you have only 4 or 5 qualities and you expect 20 from your friend. Does it make sense? She asked. And we were we became thoughtful. That we have too much expectation from others. And we don't we don't have those. Therefore, here as it was said now, that empathize with others means be sympathetic to others. Empathize is different from sympathy. Empathy means learn to see from others' shoes. Wear the other shoes and see from their angle. Don't see only from your angle. See in the right side picture, the man is hearing a good listener, you see, very attentively listening. Why is my boss saying like this? Maybe he wants me to improve. Maybe I should do it next time in a different manner. He's thinking like that. So in our relationships, for example, this man can understand. My boss has a tendency to shout a little bit, but he's a good man. He is a very good results producer. Also he also behaves nicely with me at other times. Occasionally he shouts, no problem. That is his nature, swabhava. Just learn to accept it in life. What cannot be cured must be endured. Like that. Now time is up. I have to check whether I can take another 5 minutes to conclude. Can I?
Sure, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah. See the sunny side of people. See the brighter side of people. Everybody has a dark side and a bright side. If you can, if I am sent to a garden, I can come back from the garden and say, oh, the garden was full of blossoming, fragrant roses. So nice. Another person may go to the garden and say, oh, garden is full of thorny bushes. You ask him, didn't you find a rose? He may say, yeah, rose was also there, but you see, a lot of thorny plants were there. After all, rose is a thorny plant only. But one should see the rose, not the thorns. Similarly, in people also, if you can see the brighter side of people, we will be happy and we can make the world happy also. Yeah. And our life is like a train journey. One by one, you see people disappear. And one should take life like fun. And like we make sandcastles in a seashore. The sandcastles are not going to be there forever. But our relationship is not with the ocean or with the seashore. Our relationship is with the parents. In the same manner, all the wisdom literature say that the world we live in, like, Shakespeare once made a very profound statement. He said, Shakespeare said, life is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Another time he said, life is like a drama stage. We all are like actors in this world. The Atma doesn't belong to this world. The Atma has he said, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. From this world of birth and death, one actually is in a world of spirits where everybody is pure, everybody is sublime. There is no anger, greed, lust, and such base qualities there. All living beings are pure like God. So therefore, one should live out the life here as a duty, responsibly, while remembering that this is like sandcastle is not a permanent thing. So then one can actually live life peacefully. And the next one, this will take time to explain about the past, present, and future. This is one thing, and then, okay, give up the ego. I was the first one to do this. Nobody else can do this. I am indispensable member of the team, and these kind of ideas makes us very, very stressed because we are trying to play the role of God, and we think actually, especially the individual players who can't work in a team well, they are the ones who think like this, and that is one very strong reason for stress. Which means we have to learn to do team playing by valuing the opinions of others, appreciating the abilities in others. These two things, if we do, we can give up our ego. Appreciate abilities in others and value the opinions of others. Yeah. Stress to impress the world. Oh, that's another famous thing. Everybody wants to be applauded. So, like you see, stress to impress. I heard an interesting statement that people try to purchase things which they don't need, with the money which they don't own, to impress people whom they don't like. It is that. So like neighbors envy, owners pride. We say, many things we do in this world are not for inner fulfillment, but they are for showing off to others. And that is one thing causes stress, very strong stress. Actually, there are two words in Sanskrit, Abhyuday and Nishreyas. Nishreyas means feeling peace and satisfaction in the heart. Abhyuday means impressing the world around us. So people are mostly geared towards impressing the world around. That's why people suffer with stress. And if one, actually we need both. You need accomplishment and you need inner fulfillment. We need to balance, strike a balance between the two. And one shouldn't be driven only by, accomplishments alone. And sublimate desires Don't express or suppress, he said. Like here you find this man being pulled by varieties of urges. So if you suppress, we get psychosomatic disease. If you express, then you make others suffer. So whether it is anger or desire, one should neither suppress, sublimate. And sublimation is easily made possible by meditation. There are various types of meditation. I personally do one type of meditation which is actually called the chant. Harvard University did one research about the mantra meditation. Like we chant, we have our japamala. Actually, one time I was in an airport, I saw in the prayer room, one Christian was sitting with a mala also. One Muslim was sitting with his mala also. They all have their malas also. Similarly, in every dharma, the japa is taught. Whatever is your religion that you follow, yeah, you chant the nama repeatedly with closed eyes and repeated hearing. And that type of hearing calms the mind. I can share with you a doctorate thesis research by David Brian Wolf. And there is a research thesis where he talks about this type of chanting, what beneficial effects it produces. That's another whole class we can give on that. So enormous, yeah. So these were the solutions. I was telling you to pay attention to this. Escape stress, ESCAP, and yeah. Thank you very much. I completed. And actually, this is my email. If anybody wishes to write to me, this is my email address I put up here. If you get some time, you can also see this leadersvoiceindia.com. I've just recently started. I have put a few things there. You can see also. In YouTube, if you go, Radheshyam, you can see behavioral science for youth. There are about 60, 80 videos there. You'll find some of them interesting there also. And this is a course, which is a 8-session course. I designed it way back in 1995, but it has gone internationally. All over the world, people have deeply appreciated the course, where you learn the 5S formula, as it is mentioned here. It's called Discover Yourself course. So it's called, it talks about discover the inner self, discover ultimate genius, discover the manual of life, discover lasting solution, sublime joy, real eternal love, happy planet, and unity in diversity. So some of the slides are shown here. If you go to the left bottom corner of this slide, you will see the link here. That is the link. If you wish, you can note down. If you just click that link, you will get a form, and then they will register you for the course. Then you will get to attend this. And we have one Sarashyam Prabhu who connected me to all of you. Here he lives here in our ISKCON Abid's temple in Hyderabad. So this is a beautiful course. They organize thousands and thousands of people across the globe attend this. You can attend online also. It will be just 1 hour each session. And it will go for several weeks, about 8 weeks or so, 1 hour per week. You're most welcome to register. One day you may have to note down this tinyurl.com. In that case, 58MT2RF that you note down. And thank you for your attention and participation. Now, if there is time, I can take a few minutes questions. Can I take Karan Singh?
Yes, please. We have.
How was it, Karan Singh? It was easy to. You think it was good enough, or it was too complicated?
No, it was very nice. I think most of the things are covered, though I understand there is a limitation in terms of digital platform where you can't see the reaction, you cannot interact much. That makes it more difficult, but still, I would say we have pretty much covered the reasons of stress and also solution for that. That's what I feel. I leave it to team. If they have any questions, definitely, they are welcome to ask some.
Guruji, namaste. Prasanna here.
I just put the charger in a minute.
Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Guruji Pranam, Prasanna here. Actually, wonderful session. Gave a very good view of the stress and the management of stress and how it can, what can be practiced. Fundamentally, I feel that expectation is one area
Yeah.
which causes a lot of problems, both in the self, because there is a self expectation, and expectation in the others. And what is happening is, even though we know what we are still expecting ourselves to do something beyond what we are.
Mm.
And in the other people also, we are expecting them to be what they are not. And do you agree? And what do you have to say about that, Guruji?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree very much. It's a very good point. And like, for example, one thing that people have to learn to live with, uh, like if I have this, for example, I have this bottle. uh, It has a capacity, how much water I can store in it, correct now? And there are smaller bottles also, and there are bigger bottles. So similarly, each of us, uh, we are gifted with some amount of capacity, with which to that level we can function. That's for optimum. Optimum, we say that. Like if I have a Maruti car, I can run it at 80 or 100. But imagine I am running the Maruti car always at 150 kilometers per hour. It's going to get worn out very quickly.
Correct.
So, because we have a physical capacity, we have an emotional capacity, mental capacity, intellectual capacity, all these are limited. So we have to know nowadays, even for example, IIT exams and all, they give a mock test, and then they tell a person that you should appear or you should not appear. They say don't go for IIT, go for NIT. They give advice like that because you will see there are people better than you, there are people inferior to you in terms of beauty, in terms of intelligence, in terms of strength and all those things. So therefore there is something called acceptance. So to give up unrealistic expectations, we have to cultivate acceptance in life. Acceptance is not something thinking low about yourself. Acceptance means you know that based on my karma, good and bad of the past, I am currently given certain plus and certain minuses, and I have to live with that. And that's like when you play a game, chess or a carom, it has certain set of rules. Similarly, I am born with certain rules, certain abilities and inabilities. And I agree to that. That's one thing which will help us to reduce our expectations. Realistically knowing, like a tortoise and hare, if you see, tortoise should admit the fact that I will never be able to run like this, our hare or the rabbit. Because, so it's a fact that slow and steady wins the race. But the fast and consistent will always win the race. Maybe you will see that. So then what should the tortoise do? I should go for a situational leadership, which means let us keep the flag post ahead of the river. Then the rabbit can run till the river and you can't jump into the river.
Correct.
But I can jump into the river and I can reach the goal. So I have to find out what is my unique potential. I should work in that direction and that way become empowered by my potential rather than envy the potential in others.
Thank you, Guruji. Just one last thing I wanted to say. Also, we create pressure and stress for ourselves when we don't live in the present moment. We are always thinking about the future or we are thinking about the past. I mean, your advice too there, please.
Yeah. I can drop one notes for you just now in the chat. If you all can take it, just 1 minute. I will locate it. I just drop it. I did it for Bank of America some time ago. I will. So this is all the 12 tips which I spoke just now. All the 12 tips are available.
Okay.
And in that, living in the present is also a part of it.
Yes, I saw that. I mean, hence I
Yeah.
Hence, I brought it up.
That is explained very nicely there. Why I'm not able to put it here? I have a PDF file.
We can circulate it, not a problem.
Okay, then I'll give it to
Yeah,
you.
please share with us.
Yeah, I will send it to you, and you can kind of size as well. But it has got
Definitely.
12 points. All the 12 points are elaborated very nicely. Each
you, Guruji.
each point elaborated in about half a page or 3/4 of a page. That will be like a good notes for you after this session, and you will be able to. The application is easy for you with that. Hmm? Yeah.
Thank you.
And one more thing about the expectations is because like I told you about the sandcastle example, you know, we are like a child is so busily preoccupied with the sandcastle making alone that he thinks that is life all about. He doesn't have any higher idea about life. So, but if he knows that there are parents waiting for him in the car, he has a better life, happier life, then the sandcastle is not all in all for him, everything. And you should also know that the ocean waves will wash it out after a period of time. So then one will not have too much expectation from the limited situation in which we are present. Nowadays, academic students are thinking this is academics everything for me. Similarly, people in company may think company life is everything for me. Similarly, in marital relationships, people think this is everything. So people become like a kupamandur, we call it in Sanskrit, which is like frog in the well. We have to actually have a bigger picture of life and smaller picture of life. In the name of knowing the bigger picture of life, we don't compromise in the smaller picture of life. We do both. I have to do the smaller picture of life, but I should also know the bigger picture in order to be not having unrealistic expectations in our life. And one last point, you can remember this: hope for the best and be prepared for the worst. So this one should learn. Like, hope for the best is the best thing that can happen to you in any situation. And we should also write down what could be the worst thing that can happen. And if it does happen, how are you going to take it? How are you going to face it? So then anything in between can happen also. Then you are ready for everything in life. I had actually spoken a topic called "Do Your Best and Leave the Rest." So this topic became very, very popular. If you go to just in YouTube, you just put Prerana, Prerana, and do your best, leave the rest. If you put immediately, it will come Prerana lectures. So a lot of people appreciate it as do your best, or even in my YouTube channel, you find it, do your best, leave the rest. Because do your best, leave the rest is a very important thing to learn also in our life. So in this way, as I told you, the secret is to manage your mind. If you can learn the art of managing mind, you won't be stressed. There's something called eustress. You know what is eustress? Eustress is a healthy stress, which actually we all need some thrill in life, challenges in life, adventure in life. So stress is not always bad. And some amount of stress is required, which is necessary for us to live a happy lives. That is called eustress. So let us pray that we go from stress to eustress, by which we have very good adventure and challenges in our life.
Good.
Yeah, we can.
So Guruji, I have one question. I think we are running short of time, but still. Yeah. So no, if you are talking about stress, we have stress everywhere. We understand that, but if we see in close relations, like you see in husband wife, or close colleagues working together, very close friends, so very close relationships, when you see a lot of stress is going on nowadays.
Yeah.
And what you rightly said is, if you stop expecting and you start accepting, stress might come down, but sometimes on the name of acceptance you start compromising.
Yes.
Right? You start compromising from your end. The other guy is dictating, he's doing the way he want, and you start compromising because you feel I'm accepting everything. Yes. Because relationship is important.
That is very dangerous also.
Exactly. So that will totally drain out your life, yourself. So what is the limit where you cross acceptance to compromise, so that you don't get stressed out?
Aggressive, assertive, passive. There are 3 responses. Aggressive, assertive, and passive. What you just now said is called passive response. Passive means, you walk over my head, you can spit, you can do whatever you want. I will just accept it as a fact of life. I am what I am, This kind of thing is passive. And aggressive means, I exploit you, I abuse you, I trouble you. For example, aggressive means I break your tooth. And passive means all of you break my tooth and I let all my tooth be gone. Assertive means I help you to keep your tooth, I keep my tooth. Both. That is assertive. Assertive means I allow you your rights, I take my rights. And for this, we have to combine two things, polite and firm. Huh? Polite and firm. Courage versus considerate behavior. Boldness versus sensitivity. You have to combine this. That's what makes you a manager, a leader. The leader should have the ability to combine these two things. It's actually called maturity. So, for example, when one has to deal with the spouse, you feel that the spouse has sometimes unrealistic demands, for example. And how much can you go on bending yourself? You have some limitations also. So, therefore, both of them actually need training. Like, we both need self-improvement. For example, if I try for self-improvement, but the other person is not doing, then sometimes it so happens that you may be able to manage with your life, but the other person is getting more and more worse. Nowadays, the problem is not academic education. Lot of academic education is happening, but like one of the companies says, let us make things better. We always say, let us make people better. We have to become better people, better, behavior, better speech, better thought process. Uh, and there are qualities like, everybody should cultivate humility, tolerance, respect, patience, kindness, considerate behavior, selflessness. These kind of qualities are called sattva guna, sattva. By cultivating these qualities, one can have a happy family. In a home, imagine like when Lord Rama had to go to forest, Sita was not told to go to forest, but Sita insisted that I will go ahead of you and remove all the thorns on your way. She actually wanted to go and serve. So, and that is how wherever there is true, genuine love, I have one session called as love and trust that never rust. Love and trust that never rust. That also I spoke in one of the Prerna lectures. So, and that is possible when, even if both the parties are not applying it, even one of the two applies it. It will improve. Surely it will make the other party think, Hare, at least I also should change my behavior. Actually, you can influence others' behavior by your good behavior. To some degree, you can influence. May not be to full degree, some degree. But I wouldn't tell you to go for passive. I would suggest to go for assertive. Assertive is needed.
Especially, in sensitive relationships where we fear out of losing that relation.
Yeah.
So we have that fear, that's the reason people many times they compromise. So what is the thin line where we feel that this is the time I should be assertive?
Yeah. See, I'll tell you a
Instead of-
simple thing. I'll tell you, see, there are small things, differences will be there between two personalities. When a man and woman come together as husband, wife, you will see that, there are similarities in them, there are differences in them. Correct, no? First, write down all the similarities. What things we both agree with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you write. These are things which we both like, we both agree with. And there are differences in certain areas. These areas, there are differences. And those are the areas we have to walk very cautiously, very carefully, because that is where the tussles are coming. That's where the problems are coming. So then how do we learn to live with differences? Like for example, I am a strict person and I have a partner who's a liberal person in everything. So there's a difference in behavior. Like I want everyone and everything to be responsible, but the other person is very irresponsible. So then there is a big, it's like, water and fire. Then what I do, I will tell the spouse that, see, I am responsible. I will take care of the money part. Because you are losing money like water. You give me the freedom, I will handle the money. So you identify the talent in both of you where it causes differences. And then we learn to live with it. For example, husband says that my son can, go to your average school. We don't have much money. But wife says he should go to your international school. It's a big money. She says you take a loan and send the child to the international school. It happens like that. Differences come. So then, both husband wife should have some respectable person whom they can hear from. Correct, no? So in the Vedic times, what would happen is a joint family. You had mother, father, grandmother, grandfather. They were all highly respectable. So And now currently all nuclear families, therefore the problems are increasing. What we do in our community, every member of the community is connected to a mentors group. That one mentor with 40 or 50 families under them. The mentor is a very mature person. Just like I am in a celibate order, I am a monk. But there are married people who are also very, very mature in their knowledge. And they actually guide these families. And the families take guidance from them in this situation, what we should do. And actually, we all need guidance, even after we have spent many, many years. There are always people higher than us from whom we take inspiration. So if you are not taking training, just like you are in a company now, for you to flourish in your technical field, you need to take technical training, correct? No, training in your own field too. Nowadays things are changing so fast. You have to keep abreast of what is happening, correct? No. In the same manner, in order for us to lead a happy life, we also have to take some spiritual training. Therefore, I was showing you the course at the end. We need some kind of training program which will actually make us, spiritually blossomed personalities. There are 5 koshas, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. When you come to Anandamaya kosh, you will be the most cheerful person in the world. Nothing of the world can actually disturb you. When you come to the Anandamaya kosh. Annamaya means people are thinking only of the food. Pranamaya means competitive field. Manomaya means a dream world. They live in a dream world. Vijnanamaya is the actual stage of knowledge. You understand soul, body, difference and all that. Anandamaya is actually one has connected with God with the proper understanding through meditation and everything. And one is situated in a very cheerful mood. They can see all living beings as brothers and sisters. And they can see God as Supreme Father. That realization will dawn. And actually then in the family also, then one is able to know how to deal with different people, different situations. Like you have a set of, scripts in your mind. Your spouse also will have another set of scripts. Some scripts match, some scripts don't match. The non-matching scripts, how do you take it? How serious are they? Some of them may not be serious. Some of them may be small ones. Therefore, I was telling in the course of my talk, don't make a mole into a mountain. I was telling, because sometimes we bring a machine gun for a mosquito, and that causes problem. We make a small issue into a very big thing, and that really makes the home like Kurukshetra. So therefore, I have always seen in spiritual life, by advancing, we develop maturity to think inward, and we don't blurt out words while talking to the other person. We maturely think twice before speaking, before acting. So I come here to ISKCON Abbots Temple, 3rd week of every month. I can give you a list of topics. If any of you is more interested, I can speak again another time online. And also you can meet me personally if you wish. I have given my email to you, the last slide I gave. You are welcome. You all, any of you wish to write to me, and we can connect. You are most welcome. So thank you for your interest and very genuine, heartfelt participation. It's indeed a great pleasure to be with such an audience, enthusiastic audience. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you,
Thank
Guruji.
you.
Thank you very much for your time, and we'll definitely, this session will bring a lot of insight in our life. Stress will definitely go, because what I personally felt is the stress is just a stimulus. How you respond to the situation.
Correct.
Either you ignore or you focus, depending on the importance of the situation, that will bring the stress.
Yeah.
That's a very good takeaway from my end. I hope everybody have taken up. So thank you very much for your valuable time, and of course we'll circulate your email ID. If anybody want to connect you personally, they can do that. And again, thank you very much.
And these books are available here. I will tell Sarashamani Prabhu to give you a copy of the book, and if anybody wishes to have, it's a pocket book, probably with about 200 pages or so. It has got a lot of practical exercises, like 10-point exercises, which you all can do in your own home. You can do it. Like, for example, jogging, breathing. There are various solutions given, beginning with physical, emotional, at every level. What I spoke to you probably is only 20% of the book. Other 80% is available. So I will tell Sarashamani was here. I'll put a word to him to give you.
Yes.
You are here, Sarashamani?
Yeah, I am there.
So give Karan Singh ji one copy, and in case anybody wishes to have the copy of the book, you can arrange to give them. Okay?
Yeah, fine.
I think you are in touch with him through email, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
On behalf
Guruji.
of
Thank
whole
you.
Client Curve team, we thank you. Definitely, we
Namaste.
would love to have more sessions in future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste.